Hey everyone, welcome back to It Only Takes 15. Today, we're actually diving into comparing some of the most talked about AI coding tools out there. We're going to look at what they're really great at, where they might stumble a little bit, and hopefully help you figure out how to pick the right one for your own stack.
Yeah, and actually, we even ran the exact same build prompt through each tool just to really see how they handled a real world scenario. It was pretty interesting. So let's just get right into it, shall we?
So, I guess kicking things off, there are like so many tools just floating around right now, right? I mean, we've got Cursor, Windsurf, GitHub Copilot, and then like the VS Code agents, stuff like Collide. And then there are also the more one-click web builders like Lovable, Bolt.new, Data Button, and Tempo AI. It's a lot to take in.
Yeah, it really is. And to be honest, to kind of make sense of all this chaos, I guess, we thought it'd be best to kind of split them into two main groups. Like there's group A, which are the editor first tools. These are really for folks who have at least some coding foundation already. So think Cursor, Windsurf, Copilot, and like similar VS Code extensions.
Right, right.
And then there's group B. These are more the web-based generators, and they come with like built-in integrations and deployment features. So for that, you're looking at tools like Lovable, Bolt.new, Data Button, and Tempo AI. It just kind of helps organize them a bit in your head.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, what really separates these two groups, right? Like for group A, those editor first tools, they're super flexible. They're way less opinionated, if that makes sense. Like you get to choose your framework, your backend, the infrastructure, everything. That freedom is like awesome, especially if you know what you're doing. But honestly, for beginners, it can feel just, well, completely overwhelming.
Yeah, it totally can. And that's where Group B kind of shines, right? Because they treat some of that flexibility a little bit for just pure speed. Like if you need payments or authentication or a database, a lot of these tools just have like connect your API key, press a button, integrations for things like Stripe or Lemon Squeezy. And for author data, they've got Superbase, Clerk, Convex, Firebase. I mean, it's just so much faster to get those pieces in.
Yeah, that's huge, isn't it? So I guess the big takeaway there is if you really want like deep control over every single little piece, you're looking at group A. But if you're just like, I need to ship this thing without wrestling with DevOps for like hours or days, then group E is probably your go-to. It cuts down on so much of that initial setup time.
So we wanted to put these tools through a real world scenario. So we asked each tool to build the same app for us. And what we tasked them with was an image to text website.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, I know, right? So the idea was you'd upload an image that has text on it, then the tool would run OCR, optical character recognition, and then let the user either copy that extracted text or download it as a .txt file. It sounds simple, right? But it's actually like a little finicky.
Okay, so moving on to Group A, which, these are those more editor first tools. We started with Cursor, and it was interesting. The agent, it totally scaffolded a Next.js project for us, installed all the dependencies, generated the components.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful, right?
It is. We did, we hit some errors, which like it was expected, right? But the cool thing was we just used the chat feature to debug it, and, we got it working. It was good.
Yeah, and I think that really encapsulates the Group A experience, right? You're getting this full IDE, but it's got the agent baked in so you can switch between like asking it questions or going into edit modes. And you get this super tight code context, which is awesome. You can even choose your model, and it just executes terminal commands for you. It's really convenient.
Yeah, it's really cool. But I mean, you still need to like understand builds and packages and obviously debugging, right? Like it's not a magic button. You still need to know what you're doing.
Exactly. And I think that's the key distinction, right? For Group A, deploying is also, it's like the real world path. You're pushing to GitHub, you're deploying on Vercel or your cloud of choice. Then you're wiring up your domains, adding authentication, Stripe, all that good stuff. For newcomers, I mean, that's definitely a learning curve. But for us devs, it's kind of home turf, right? It's what we expect.
Yeah, it's home turf for sure.
So, a quick tip for anyone who is new to this: if you're trying one of these Group A tools, really budget some extra time for debugging and also just like getting your deploy workflow right, because the power, it's totally worth it, but it's not, it's not one click. It's not just going to happen. So, moving on to Group B then, where it's all about that speed and those integrations. We started with Lovable, and yeah, it generated the app pretty fast. Honestly, after just one like fix this error nudge, the OCR worked perfectly.
Yeah, and the publishing, I mean, that was literally just a button press, right? And the domain wiring was so easy, plus the Supabase integration for auth database storage, it was really strong.
Super strong, yeah. Then we looked at Bolt.new, and that also delivered super quickly. I think a big strength there, honestly, was the framework choice. Like you could pick React, Next.js, Astro, Remix, even Expo for mobile. That broader stack menu, I think, is a huge differentiator among these web-based tools.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's not just like locked into one thing. It gives you some options, which is nice for, these kind of one-click tools.
Yeah, exactly. It's still in that group, but it gives you a bit more flexibility, which is great. And then Tempo AI, honestly, this one really shined on integrations and styling. You can like start from a template and then just like flip on third-party services like Stripe, Convex, Superbase, Clerk, and then you can visually tweak styles, which is awesome. We did need one nudge to stop it from returning just placeholder text, but after that, it just worked flawlessly.
Right. Right. No, that's really handy, especially for like the visual side of things. And then we tested Data Button too, that uses React on the front end and then Python on the back end. It broke the work into a plan, which was kind of cool. Built each task and then deployed with a click. Integrations for authentication, database, storage, payments, all that's there. One little caveat we found at the time of testing, GitHub Sync wasn't built in, which, could be a bit of a bummer for some folks.
Yeah, that's a small hangup, but probably something they'll get to. But the bottom line for these Group B tools is you just move faster. You deploy faster. And those integrations, oh my gosh, they are ridiculously convenient. The trade-off, though, is that each platform really has its own opinions about frameworks and runtime support. You're just kind of locked into their ecosystem a little bit. Okay, so we've gone through the nitty-gritty of each group. But, for those just kind of wanting the highlights, like a quick glance, let's do a little rapid-fire breakdown of the platforms, what really stood out.
Yeah, like if you just want the one-liner, right? So for Lovable, definitely the best-in-class Supabase integration. Seriously, that one-click publish, simple domain mapping, and it's very React first, which is great.
Yeah, definitely. And then for Bolt.new, I mean, the widest framework coverage we saw among those no-install web tools, which is huge. Even Expo mobile apps, which, you don't always see that. So that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's a big deal. For Tempo AI, that really great starter with integrations flow, payments, off, backend stuff, all in just a few clicks. Plus those easy style tweaks. It works well with Next.js and React variants.
Totally. And then Data Button, I think that's like the sweet spot if you're looking for a Python backend with a React front end. Good one-click deploy. Just, note that GitHub sync limitation we ran into, but overall, pretty solid. Okay, so we've talked about all these tools, we've compared them, we've given you the quick highlights. But now, the big question is, how do you actually pick the right one for you? Like for your specific project or your skill level, whatever that might be.
Yeah, it can still feel a little like overwhelming, right? So we kind of boiled it down to two main questions you should really start with. First, do you want full control or are you just looking for that one-click speed? That's a huge differentiator.
Absolutely. And then the second one is, what is your required stack? Like, are you a Next.js person or are you more React only? Do you need a Python backend or is Node your thing? Because that really kind of funnels you down.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're someone who really wants like maximum control and you're already like super comfortable debugging, like you're not afraid to get your hands dirty, then you should probably lean towards Cursor or Windsurf. They give you that deep control.
Right, right. And then
conversely, if you're like, I need React and Supabase and I need it fast, like yesterday, then Lovable is probably your go-to. It nails that particular combination.
Mm-hmm. And if you're thinking, okay, I need Next.js, or I'm exploring multiple frameworks, and maybe I even want to do mobile stuff down the line, then Bolt.new is going to be a fantastic option. It really covers a lot of ground there.
Totally. Or, maybe you're really specific and you're like, I want a Python backend, but with a React front end, and I still want that easy deploy. In that case, Data Button is going to be your choice.
Yeah. And then finally, if you just want that one-click third-party wiring and you're looking for maybe a bit of a nicer design surface to start with, Tempo AI is probably where you want to be. It's pretty slick for that.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the big takeaway here is, there's no single best tool, right? Like, it really depends on your specific use case, what you're trying to achieve, your comfort level. You got to pick it by your stack, the integrations you need, and honestly, just how much you want to learn about infrastructure today, like right now.
Okay, so we've talked about all these individual tools, but there's actually a bit of a pro move you can make if you're feeling a little advanced,
Ooh, I like this. What's the pro move, Avery? Lay it on us.
It's pairing, actually, a Group B tool with a Group A editor. Think of it like getting the best of both worlds.
Ooh, okay. So, can you give me an example? How would that, practically work?
Yeah, totally. So, for example, you could start your MVP in something like Lovable, right? Get that initial scaffolding, enable their two-way GitHub sync, and then you clone it locally and you continue your deeper work in Cursor.
Ah, I see. So you get that super fast one-click scaffolding and deployment from Lovable, which is, amazing for getting off the ground quickly. And then you switch over to Cursor, which gives you that really powerful agent and a real IDE for all the detail, deeper work. That's actually pretty smart.
Exactly. That combo, it really covers both the speed you want for, getting something out there and the deep control for scaling beyond just that initial MVP. It's kind of the ultimate setup, I think.
Yeah, that really does make a lot of sense. So that's our rundown of 7 different AI coding tools for you. If you guys try this test at home or you have, other tools you've been experimenting with, please send us your results. We'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, definitely. Happy building, everyone, and we'll catch you next time on It Only Takes 15.